Hello and welcome to another episode of AHEPA Talk. Today we have the privilege of talking to the AHEPA District 2 Treasurer, George Jonson, who also happens to be a health and fitness promoter and a personal trainer. George, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So you're heavily involved in the fitness world. You were a promoter for please, forgive me, I forget the acronym.
The IFBB, International.
And that's the International
Federation for Bodybuilding.
So you were heavily involved in that, and
many years.
And what did you do with that? I mean, is just what?
It basically started in the early 90s. I was just working, passing out programs, and through time and the years, we elevated up, and I became the president's right-hand man, and expedited the contests, and worked backstage, and ran the expos, and took care of the athletes, and moved my way all the way up to the Mr. Olympia, and for many years, and then got into promoting shows and organizing contests and training athletes. And before you know it, 30 years go by, and we're still in the game. We're not as involved heavily as we were before, but I still dabble in a few contests here in the state of Florida. We have the Florida Classic coming up in July in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And then we have the Miami Grand Prix International Show. That's our president, Rafael Santago, in the middle. And that's Carlos Cortez, my partner, to his right. And of course, that's myself. That's down in Miami. That one is 2 years ago at the Miami Grand Prix. And, it's a great contest. We bring in about 27 different countries. This year, we've got about 30 countries coming in because the COVID restrictions have been lifted a lot. So a lot of the athletes can get their visas and come and compete. It's a fantastic tournament.
The fascinating thing, and this I file under, you meet the most interesting people in AHEPA. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. I mean, we got that. That's you.
There we go.
You look the same to me.
Well, that's in my late 40s there.
And you
the earlier days, my peak was in my 86, 87, 88. Well, I was a little bit larger.
You actually, that's you on stage competing in a bodybuilding competition.
Oh yeah, That was the Ruby Cup. Yeah, that was a good show.
Well,
but I've done about 7 contests over my lifetime, which isn't a lot compared to how many times athletes compete these days. But after a while, I just got out of the sport, try to stay physically fit, and I got more into the promoting side of everything and working with the president and helping him get shows off the ground and getting them organized.
So now that you're older and you're not competing anymore, what advice would you give to, say, somebody who hasn't had a lifetime of physical training like you, but wants to get a healthy lifestyle? What would be your recommendations?
Well, I would suggest that anybody that's wanting to get involved in an exercise program, that they get clearance from their cardiologist or from their intern, and make sure that cardiovascular wise they're good to go. And the most important thing is to start off extremely slow, like a general walk, maybe 15-20 minutes a day, nothing crazy. Or if they have a pool, they can start by just walking in the pool, and as in going to a gym and exercising, I don't recommend people that have never been in the gym go by themselves. think they should be instructed to have a trainer, first of all, after they get clearance from their physician that they're good to go to exercise. But the most important thing is to start off slow, and the key is consistency.
So
Don't have to kill yourself, but you have to stay consistent. And that also goes with your dietary habits.
what
I think
kind
the
of
big-
foods,
Excuse me?
what kind of foods do you suggest? And what about supplements?
Supplement wise, keep it easy, keep it basic. People can just use a multi-mineral, multivitamin once or twice a day, nothing crazy. But the key is to have, like the FDA has always said, 3 basic square meals a day. Making sure that you get foods from all your different groups. Try not to overeat. Try not to eat late at night. Stay away from sugars. Stay away from alcohol. Not all alcohol, consumption-wise. 1 drink is fine. But if you're having 2 or 3 drinks late at night, that's an additional 700-800 calories of sugar that you're having at night. One of the biggest problems men have, they get that big stomach. They don't realize that when you drink and you eat excess of sugar, it goes right to the stomach. It doesn't metabolize late at night. But the key for people starting off is to find a good basic meal program. And the way they can do that is they can hire a registered dietitian, or they can just do it themselves. Just eat small individual meals. I like to tell some of the elderly people that I've helped over the years to use your hands. A handful of oatmeal and however many eggs you can put in your pan, usually 3. You don't have to have all of the yolks, but you can have 1 yolk, 2 egg whites, a piece of toast, a little jelly, a little bit of butter, a handful of oatmeal, or a handful of cereal, handful of fruit, half a cup of yogurt. Try to have 3 different things for breakfast, 3 different things for lunch, and 3 different things for dinner, consisting of a protein, fat, and a carbohydrate.
Fascinating. You said and a fat.
Absolutely. Fats are very important. That's one thing people don't consume. They consume saturated fats, but I'm talking about unsaturated fats. Olive oil, almonds, all of your nuts, your seeds, avocados, peanut butter, even butter. There's nothing wrong with butter, just as long as you don't have 4 or 5 tablespoons of it in one sitting. If you have, a moderate piece of butter, which is the size of a handle of a knife, on toast, there's nothing wrong with that. Fats are very good. And of course, your vegetables. They say we're supposed to have 6 to 8 cups of vegetables a day. That's a lot of vegetables. Most adults don't consume that. So this is where supplementation can come in to replace the nutrients that are needed that don't get consumed. So as you see on TV, there's all kinds of new supplements out there, that have the vegetables and the fruits all in one, and all of this, Nature's Best, Nature's Valley. There's all different types of stuff. But when it comes to supplements, basically a multi-mineral, multivitamin, once or twice a day will cover the gamut on all of that.
That sounds fascinating. So what kind of exercises would you recommend to someone starting out, and how do I keep doing it? How do I stay consistent, as you say? I'm 60 years old.
Right.
I've never done anything. I've got the
Right.
beer belly, and I sincerely want to do a change of lifestyle because it's good for me.
Well, the change of lifestyle comes from within. There's programs out there that tell us we can't change people, places, or things. You're not going to be able to take a person that's never done anything to change their lifestyle if they don't want to change their lifestyle. But if someone came up to me and says, listen, I'm 40 pounds overweight, I really want to change my lifestyle. Well, then I would say to them, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you just take 3 or 4 days and tell me what you're eating, write it down and send it to me via email. They send me it, I look at it, we say, well, does this really make sense? You know, what you're eating? You know, while I'm having pizza and sausage at 10 o'clock at night. Well, no wonder you're 40 pounds overweight. Look at all the saturated fats that you're eating. But for somebody that's never exercised before, I go back, you have to do something. They say if you do something for 21 days, it changes your habit. Well, for someone that's never done anything, I don't recommend them just going to the gym right off the bat and starting off.
No,
if they're heavy, they need to just change what they're eating first. Learn to eat balance. Balance gives you consistency. It doesn't mean that you can't have something to cheat on once in a while, but it also doesn't mean that you can cheat on something that's ginormous. You have to keep everything restricted. That's why the palms of the hands come in place.
So
protein that goes from here to here is about the size of what you need. How much you can grab by your fist is about all that you need, like a potato or even pasta. You know, if you go to an Italian restaurant and they bring the plate to you, my God, you've got enough carbohydrates there for 5 people. The body can only absorb about 50 grams at one time. Well, one cup of dry pasta is almost 50 grams right there. So people overeat, they don't even realize they're overeating. And then all of those excess of calories, everybody ends up getting fat. That's why we have such an obese problem in America. People overeat, they don't even know they're overeating. But for somebody that's just starting off, I recommend walking or swimming or playing golf 3 days a week.
Golf?
The key is changing what they put in their mouth. As my mother always said when I was a kid, Georgie, you are what you eat. And if we eat garbage, we become garbage. If you're in your 50s and you're moving into your 60s and you're overweight and your doctor's giving you the clearance, then by all means, get yourself into a nice health club, get yourself a personal trainer. But the most important part is you cannot allow yourself to be pushed to the point to where you get injured or you get so sore that you don't want to come back. So you take your time, 1 day at a time, eat 3 square meals a day, learn what you can do and what makes you happy to do, but the change has to come within first. Then everything goes with it afterward.
Thank you very much, George. That's good advice. Well, I look forward to seeing you at the AHEPA District 2 convention.
Absolutely.
And I imagine anybody can come up and just chat with you.
I tell you what, if anybody anywhere has any questions, especially with the AHEPA, because we're all brothers and sisters in Christ, all they have to do is come up, Yogo, I have a question for you. Can you help me?
Sounds great.
Not a problem. Whatever they need.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Take care. That'll
See you
be it
soon.
for our AHEPA Talk. We'll see you on the next episode.